Good afternoon to you, Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Pro in HD video blog for Saturday, the 24th of June, 2017. In the Eastern Pacific, activity starting to develop again with Invest Area 93E, the E for Eastern Pacific. And this will move on off to the west-northwest with time towards colder water eventually, so not much of a chance that this will become a hurricane. However, it could bring some heavy rains, as it's doing to some extent now, continuing along portions of the Mexican coastline. Over the next few days, this should go on to become Tropical Storm Dora in the Eastern Pacific. And we can see the satellite animation of it here on the wide shot of the Atlantic. That includes a good chunk of the Southeast Pacific over here. And you can see the good rotation, solid rotation, I should say. I guess it's good if it's away from all land masses, right? But you can see it's got a fairly organized rotation with it. And again, it should go on to develop. We'll look at some of the model output for it in just a moment. In the meantime, across the Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico and the Western Atlantic over here, really nothing to worry about. Strong outbreak of Saharan air coming off of Africa. It came off a few days ago, actually. And this will move its way westward with time, bringing some Saharan dust to the Windward Islands, the Lesser Antilles as a whole, maybe providing for some interesting sunsets coming up. And there is a tropical wave down here that could bring some showers and thunderstorms to some of the areas where Tropical Storm Brett moved through, so keep an eye on that. I don't think it'll develop any, but it could bring some gusty winds from time to time as it moves through. Now, in the Eastern Pacific here, back to Invest Area 93, this should go on to develop, but then it's got a pretty good envelope, tightly clustered here, of the various track models. We don't see any coming off this way, and a few of them wandering off way over here. And so that shows pretty good confidence in what will happen, a pretty straightforward forecast. And as it moves along the coast here, offshore enough, I think it'll keep most of the heavy rain away from areas including up to the Baja Peninsula, Cabo San Lucas, for example. The intensity models, up until about 60 hours or so right here, they try to ramp it up pretty steadily, and then there's this marked drop-off, mainly because this enters an area of more stable atmosphere, and that caused by the cooler sea surface temperatures that have taken up residence in the Eastern Pacific this hurricane season. And so this probably won't become a hurricane. You never say never, especially in the Eastern Pacific, where sometimes things can ramp up quickly, but I think conditions just don't favor it this time around. We'll see. The MJO, in terms of the Atlantic and what it might have over the next couple of weeks, this is the GFS and its ensemble members all painting, favorable for the most part in phases 1 and 2. But if we look at the ECMWF, or the Euro, and its ensemble members, not so much. It's more of a weak amplitude into phase 2, and then just kind of dying off, very low amplitude, very low MJO activity anywhere over the next couple of weeks. So we'll see maybe a blend between the two. And we are seeing some activity in the Eastern Pacific, and that certainly bodes into this phase 1 idea that favors portions of the Western Hemisphere. So let me point that out. So at least for the time being, the Madden-Julian oscillation would favor development in the GFS realm anyway, and we're seeing that off the coast of Mexico, which is part of that area. So who knows, maybe the GFS has generally the right idea. However, that being said, the Atlantic is going to be dominated by this large area of dry, dusty air. There's a tropical wave off of Africa now that needs to be watched, as always, especially this year, since we've already had Brett develop out this way very, very early, almost 2 months ahead of schedule. And the water temperatures out this way are warmer than average, so you never know. I'm not seeing anything in the models, though, that suggest any development in the Atlantic over the next week to 10 days. So that's good news. And we need a little bit of a break after a fairly quick start out of the gate here with Brett and Cindy. All right, well, that is it for me for today. I'll take tomorrow off. Just got back from the Mississippi Gulf Coast, so I'm going to relax a little bit, clean up the vehicle and the equipment we used, etc. And then I'll be back on Monday. So have a great rest of your Saturday and Sunday. I am Mark Sudduth for HurricaneTrack.com, my website. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, check it out. And of course, for Hurricane Pro in HD, it's great to be here. and I'll talk to you again this coming Monday.